Hey, I'm Scottie, and in this tutorial we'll be sketching the inside room of a building, and this is an interior that you might see in a restaurant or cafe that you might be sketching at. This room here is in 1-point perspective because you're standing directly in front of the back wall. You can put this room in a simple box like this. The eye line is about in the middle where you can imagine the eyes of the viewer are, so they're standing up, and the vanishing point is right in the middle. So all of those horizontal lines that are going towards the back of the room are actually angling into that 1 point in the middle. Even the arches on the side there, the top of the arches, that all line up angling into that middle point. Our room we're doing today, which is more commonly what you'd sketch, we're at an angle, and because we're at an angle we have 2 points perspective. There's still an eye line, and on that eye line there's a vanishing point, and we can see the tops of the chairs, the tables, the rugs, all those horizontal lines going back into the room are going towards that 1 point. Then those horizontal lines that are perpendicular to those lines going back, they're actually also angling. So that's why we know we've got 2 points perspective. And here's a big version of what you'd see. Those lines on the top and the bottom, they're angling all the way back to the right to a vanishing point really far away. Now looking at the reference, we know that all the horizontal lines going back towards the back of the room, they're going towards a point somewhere here on the page. So there's that vanishing point there. It's a little bit lower than halfway. Very light line across there. So the vanishing point, I'm going to set it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just wherever you set it, it means that's where all the lines have to aim towards. Let's add a point in the middle, just a light dot there, and then a light dot in between those two. And the same on this side in between, but that's our vanishing point. So let's make a little V. The other vanishing point, as we talked about, is right over on the right. So we just have to compare it to the eye line for those lines. Now I want to create a kind of a basic box to put everything into. So I'm going to find the main lines to do first, the most important lines that structure this whole room. The first one is that back one. If you go between the top and the eye line, about approximately halfway, now that line angles across the sketch, so let's just put it slightly down from this dot. So just avoid that. It slowly angles more and more. So this one here is angled more than this one. So I'm just looking where it aims on there, about there. You can add a bit of wobble. Now let's add this corner so we can get this face of the room here, this side. But now we start to use this vanishing point here. Project from up there, up to there, keep going to there. That. So from this point, go straight down past the eye line. Okay, so I just want something here to show that back face of the wall there. So I'm going to divide this space into 3. Just above that dot there, put a dot for the bottom of the door. Now a rough line. That's the doorway. Some sort of lines here to show that face here. These lines will go towards that vanishing point. So we could begin with the rug, about there, and then follow that line off that way. And then from here, we can project the line again. So it's coming to about here on the border. And the same thing, let's angle our pen a really nice perspective of the room. So now we can kind of see that face, the back face, the roof, and the floor. We can start going into some more details now. We've got this pot plan here, and the top starts above the eye line. So really expressive one lines, almost to the vanishing point there. Now the chairs. A little bit tricky to add in the chairs. It actually follows the same rule. All the vertical lines here are going to be perfectly vertical, and all the lines, horizontal lines that are aiming back to the back of the room are aiming towards this point, and all the ones aiming towards the side are actually going to be aiming up towards the vanishing point in that direction, about here. And then we're following that line, putting another dot there. Put a line like that, and also on this side down. But this time these dots have to aim up even more to get that angle, almost the same as that rug. Down. You can follow this line across the top of that one and put a dot there and there. Just trying to make a box almost for my chair. So this point here, that would be angling off to that other vanishing point there. But we don't know where it is, we're just adding an angle. So I'm going to angle it up like that, outline those lines, one. We've got those, then we can add in this line here too, between those two, same angle as the top of the chair. Just going to copy that same angle as this one. Like a diamond shape for the seats. Now the light here, put a dot either side. It's like you've got a square shape with the dots. 1, 2, 3. About level with the lights, the bottom of the lights. Let's put 2 dots, one here, and then one on the other side of it. Go up there and straight down. Wait. Just do one line impressionistic shapes. These black things here. So we'll go up there, like that. Then this side here would actually be angling towards the other vanishing point, so slightly down. And as we do the shells, they'll get flatter and flatter as we get to that line. So a little bit less angle, and here flat. Now angling back up towards the vanishing point. Some random objects, curves, same curve as this one, and then straight up. 3 little seat top bits. 1, 2, 3. Just had the same sort of size legs there. An oval shape goes around there, past those tops. And there's one head, just a rough outline, and then the body. Maybe made the laptop too big. A person sitting there, and shoulders. Straight down for the curtain. And I'm going to add even more detail here. And then this other table here, same height as this one, but it's closer so it goes longer. And there's another detail just to add a bit of perspective to the floor. We already have these lines on the ceiling, but on this face we don't have anything aiming up this way. This is all dark line there. So that's all our line work. Now let's get on to watercolor. I'm going to start with my round 10 brush. Let's start with some red and green and make sure there's lots of white and it's white spaces around this area. And then as we go, let's add some little bit of Payne's grey so make that quite dark. This corner colour here, there. And now let's go somewhere where it's a bit further away so we don't touch that colour. Let's do a burnt umber and start on this side and make our way across now. Around the leaves. And as we go across, let's do that again. Payne's grey. Now how about we do the black sections, and with black I usually just use Payne's grey. On the cupboard or the shelf. Down like that. And this bag's black, and his hair, I'll just do black. The next colour we're going to do is that light sort of salmony pink colour for the wall sections here. I'm going to use burnt sienna, but water that down a lot, and then a tiny bit of permanent rose. Just put a stroke through there as we go across. Increase the saturation just around this point around there. So a little bit more saturation, and then these. I think I'll do the chairs burnt sienna here, and then do these yellow ochre. So put the pink on the top and the bottom, cadmium yellow. And we'll start with sap green. Bit of Payne's grey. Add a bit of that on each one. And this pot up here is a green. And we need yellow ochre for the chair legs. So for shadows, I'm going to mix a bit of ultramarine and permanent rose together. A big stroke of shadow through there. There. A bit on the table from the laptop. Flick some strokes down this way to show reflections in the floor. The side of the chairs like that. So once I've done the main blocks of colour and then the shadows, also like to add in some dark spots to bring in the eye and add some texture and interest. And we can just add some random size strokes and dots here. So just around this middle bit, so I have my Uniball Signo pen, which is really good for highlights, but just little dots. Not so good for long lines. There's the light globe in the middle there, so that's perfect. Around the shoulders, bag. I'm just putting more around here because that's the focal point. Around the doorway, there's all these little white lines, so let's add those tiles in. And that's how I sketch inside of a room. Hope you enjoyed the process with the perspective and all the line work and the watercolor. If you'd like the full version, which is much easier to sketch along with, I've also got more theory there to explain the perspective. That's over on my Patreon membership, full tutorial, the reference and a template. I've also got my whole library of tutorials there and my fundamentals for beginners. And you can post your work in the community and ask me any question you like. Otherwise, there's another tutorial right here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.